All right. Welcome to the show. This is Internet Uncapped. I am your host, Evan, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, man named Mitchy Poppy. I don't know what's going on there, but how we doing today, Mitchell?
I don't know how to feel about you using this accent. God damn, that's
So
just.
anyway,
And don't be saying my government name.
indeed. I want to just start by saying, yeah, welcome to the show. As you can see, we are in our full Boston regalia. We're from, roughly the area, but we have a really special show today. Uh, so I just want to get up front a couple of things. We did have last few days uh, our Grand Theft Auto 6 coverage. So
Mhm.
big that we had to do a part two. Well, there is a part two, and it's going to come next week. We have a really big show today, and we're going to have another show, really important, about the video game Mind's Eye. But for now, until then, until we get to Grand Theft Auto 6, we have to talk about one of the biggest stories on the internet. And what better way to do an internet uncapped story than to really do a deep dive into Dave Portnoy. Now, specifically with Dave, he had a blowout
Mhm.
on his one of his podcasts on his network called Barstool Sports called The Unnamed Show. Very original, right? And he had a lot of feelings and a lot of thoughts about things going on right now. We'll get into that in a minute. But before we do, let's really set the stage. Let's set the table. Mitchell, I asked you earlier if you can just give us a very quick recap of who Dave Portnoy is, some of his background, and all of that. So before we really dig into this story in particular, let's set the scene, and you can introduce us to Dave Portnoy right now.
Yeah, so I mean, Dave Portnoy, everyone knows or has seen him in some way, shape, or form. He's one of the biggest media moguls out there. He has so many different avenues where he is making money, whether it's through social media and the various podcasts that he hosts on his network, or through the various athletes that he has linked with. Um, Again, so many people he has linked up with, and he has a variety of small businesses as well, where he goes ahead and well, not small businesses, but a variety of business ventures that he makes money off of. Got High Noon, which is one of the most popular ones that are out there, and I mean, his face is all over it. He's everywhere with it. And he's always doing all of his own ads, so it's just him. The only thing he pays is for the production team to come out there and film stuff. He doesn't pay for celebrity moguls to come out there. Um, I actually got something right here. Going to go ahead and share my screen. But if you type in Dave Portnoy High Noon, it shows the variety pack, and then the next one is his High Noon tequila ad. I mean, this is what you get from Dave Portnoy. Um,
Hmm.
and here's another one. It's him on his Instagram advertising it. This is an in-store right here, an in-store display. Who's on it? It's him. The El Prez pack. It's him. Look, another in-store advertisement. It's him on the display. So he does all of his own advertising for his products, and he makes sure that people know, hey, it's available. Come and get it. Here's another one, End Zone, another variety pack right there. Him, the guy, like High Noon specifically, he's freaking everywhere, man. It's insane. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I'll stop sharing my screen on that. But again, you see him everywhere. But this is something that's on the newer side. Prior to that, he had various different um, T-shirts and um, I'm trying to think of what the T-shirts and other accessories, things like that, that you could
Yep.
go ahead and buy, and that's where he made most of his claim to fame is that they prior to where it is now, where it's become more of an entertainment thing. Barstool was first like a kind of a frat house of sports where they would just come out and they would just say what people were saying in a way that the top sports media companies were not saying it. Like you would never hear Stephen A. Smith say, "No, fuck you, Tom Brady's the greatest of all time." You would never hear those things. And that's what
Right.
Barstool initially gave to the people is a way to go ahead and to sort of express themselves and to sort of go ahead and point out criticism in players. And I got a couple of shirts here where one of them just went away. Here we go. So I got a couple of shirts where they just criticize um, certain athletes. So I'm going to share my screen again. Well, athletes
Hmm.
and sports members. So this is Roger Goodell. If you don't know who Roger Goodell is, he's the NFL commissioner. Pretty much, he makes the rules. He gets the owners in line, and he makes sure that the season happens. Well, one of the big shirts that they came out with was this one right here. It's Roger Goodell with the big red nose as a clown. Um, Very famously, Matt Patricia, former defensive coordinator for the Patriots. And then there you go. He was
There we
seen
go.
coming off the plane when they won their Super Bowl. Um, but the real clown was him when he went to Detroit and he had the third losing win percentage as the head coach. So
Right.
congratulations, Matt Patricia, you played yourself.
Yeah.
And I have another one here. Um, LeBron James, he also catches shade.
Oh wow.
This was made,
Yeah, he's basically wearing like a Kim Jong Un like comrade T-shirt and a
yes.
get up.
So yeah, what happened is the NBA. It was I can't think of his name right now. He's the GM for the 76ers. Daryl, I think it's Daryl Morey. Daryl
Yeah.
Morey went ahead and said stuff about like freedom for China and stuff like that, or freedom for Hong Kong. I forgot what exactly the confrontation was, but a bunch
Yeah.
of NBA players pushed back on him because their large market is China, or a lot of these guys are sponsored by Nike. And then LeBron
Right.
went ahead and started saying, "I don't think you should speak on matters without being educated on them." So Barstool came out with this. So that's sort of Dave Portnoy's claim to fame is he spoke how normal people speak about sports. And that's always been kind of, well, in the beginning, before he became this huge media conglomerate, it was always about that. It was always about just talking about sports the same way that you would talk about sports in the barbershop with your friends, rather than talking about it in a
Right.
very political way now where um, you have people who are paid off or who are suspected to be paid off by um, certain agencies linked to players like LeBron James and Patrick Mahomes. So these guys have a narrative that they're trying to push. So
Right.
it was just pretty much honesty is their best policy. And they would go ahead and again, it was fluid. It was natural. It was no, Tom Brady's the greatest of all time because he fucks your quarterback up. Very crude, but very honest and straightforward and to the point. And at one point, I thought it was a very cool network. Like, I'll be honest with you, I used to watch some of their stuff um, when I was in like high school, and I thought it was fun. But as I like went through high school, I kind of just was like, this is kind of like I get it. Like, guys are harsh, and I kind of grew out of it. I don't know. I just
Yeah.
didn't like the content anymore. I don't really like watching even like ESPN or any of those big um,
Mm.
media conglomerates. I like going on YouTube and finding small channels where people do like in-depth analysis. There's some people that do hour-long videos about like Shador Sanders, who was just in the NFL draft, and they do a really great breakdown on why they think he is great or why they think he's not a great quarterback. And I love watching those small-time YouTubers make that content compared to, um, these big-time conglomerates making content that's just dog water. And Barstool again, like now they just do all these different podcasts. Like there's one where it's just all these chicks that are on there. And last time I watched like a clip where they were like, yeah, excuse me, they were like, yeah, you can't just do anal on the first date. You got to make them work for it. I'm like, what the fuck are we
Christ.
talking about? Like, why is this? This is Barstool Sports. Sports. and
Not
this is something
VH1,
like
not
I don't
E,
know.
not Bravo. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, and I don't know. Again, like I just nowadays it's just kind of like I mean, but that's what happens though, is you go ahead and it's like MTV. MTV was music television. The whole
Right.
point of MTV was to show music, talk about music news, talk about um, show music videos. That was the whole premise of MTV. Now they do Jersey Shore, baby. Like, it's just they try to branch out because they don't want to be a one trick pony.
Right.
Although the original creators wanted it to be a one trick pony.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Yeah, no, and that happens all the time. You have to adapt. You have to grow. You have to figure out ways to be relevant, and that's understandable. And as you indicated, Dave Portnoy, he is the brand. He does his own promoting. He does his own products. He puts out all these new ideas and gets them out there. And I commend him for it because you know what? A lot of people get pushed around by their bosses to do whatever they need to do for the brand. He's like, "No, I am the brand. I'm going to do what I'm going to do what I want to do." And again, I think that's okay. I think that's fine. He's a self-made man. I want to quickly mention that he is originally from Swampscott, Massachusetts. So there's sort of that stuff going on. Just in terms of being a local and expressing himself as someone from around the Boston area. And he's done trolling. He did the T-shirts. He says what's on his mind. It's not filtered through committee. I want to quickly, before we really get into it, really quickly, just go over the actual website of Barstool Sports, just to show the audience what they have and what they're about here, and you can kind of see that they have a lot of featured videos and articles and things like that. Ozempic users are claiming Ozempic makes their dicks bigger. NASCAR. Something about the Raiders and the Riders, not the Raiders, the Riders and Chicago for baseball. They have all this other stuff by users and sort of other people from their website. So you can actually, I think, if correct me if I'm wrong, Mitchell, I think you can actually upload your own videos onto the profiles, and you can actually have them like go viral, because I know it's a video sharing platform in addition to podcasts, in addition to whatever. So you have blogs, you have videos, podcasts, different pictures, and then all this other stuff. And they have their shop and they have all that other stuff too. So you know, but the other thing about Dave Portnoy is that he is the CEO of Barstool Sports. They do all of that. He also has a YouTube channel dedicated to pizza reviews, specifically One Bite pizza reviews. Now, the One Bite pizza reviews, they're very popular. It's pizza, it's kind of silly, whatever, right? But he has to maintain that brand level of recognition. And again, to his credit, a lot of times if he gives a place a good review, a lot of people will go to that pizza, and that's good for business, right? And that's a good sense of
Mhm.
promotion. There is a controversy, though, to his approach and to these particular reviews. And one of the best examples is actually one that it was called Dragon Pizza in Somerville. And this got a lot of attention, in particular, not because of the review itself, but because the owner of the place actually um, well, he got into a bit of a heated into a heated spat with Dave. So what we're gonna do is right now we're gonna just go over the clip that I have here, and then we're gonna discuss it and talk about it. So without further ado, let's go into Dave Portnoy and his review of Dragon Pizza.
Chef where?
I do private chef work now.
Oh, all right.
I used to work here.
What do you think of this?
It used to be good. You said you just got it out the case?
Well, I thought it had a lot of parma. Yeah, take a slice. Go, watch out, it's floppy, see? It's like a little bit. It may have been too long
should
in the
be
box.
crispier.
Yeah, it's not. What does Dom of the Year have on it? It may have been our fault because it may have been sitting for a bit.
I used to make.
So before we continue, for context, this guy to the right of Dave actually was a former employee of the store, and he begins his reviews pretty much the same. He comes out with this big giant piece of pizza. He, talks to the camera a little bit. And then if there are passersby that, are crossing the street, he'll probably want to talk to them. But what is really apparent here is the fact that he is basically shitting on the pizza with a former employee and then just putting it out there for the sake of just putting it out there. And that is a level of disrespect that it's very strange. Some people seem to want to forgive it. And then other people are just like, well, clearly they're being rude, and clearly, like, this is like not a good look for Dave. But again, that's his whole image. His whole image is that he doesn't give a shit. He's gonna say what he wants to say. He's gonna do what he wants to do. Now, I personally don't agree with this approach, but you'll see in a minute that the owner actually confronts Dave. So we're gonna play that part right now.
In the case, it's like best of boss and all this stuff. Thank you, I appreciate that.
Dave,
Yes.
enjoy your pizza as any customer, but I don't appreciate what you do coming in and judging a business with one bite.
Well, we do more. Is this your spot?
This is my spot.
Oh.
I hope you enjoy your pizza, but I don't appreciate what you do to small businesses.
Well, I help. The good news is I give
don't
you
see it that way.
terrible school. That guy. Well, Dom of the Year, can I ask you?
Yeah.
What was his problem?
Man, I need.
Okay, so there's an ad. I'm gonna stop sharing for now. Well, I'm just gonna talk while this goes. Obviously, like,
Yeah.
this is his establishment. This is his business, and Dave doesn't have the right to humiliate someone outside of their own business. And I just think that there's a level of decorum to these kinds of things. But anyway, go ahead, Mitchell. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, like, he's done this for a very, very long time. Like, he's done this for years now. Like, he must have done over 300 episodes.
Yes, right.
And to a certain extent, like, that guy comes out and tells him, "I don't appreciate you doing that." I'm trying to play both sides right now. What I think is best is, you go on there and then you say, "Hey, I'm Dave Portnoy. This is what I do. I rate pizzas. If you think your pizza is good, I can help your business. Like, we'll advertise it this way." I think, because who's to say that, maybe the head guy is out. You go there on a bad day, and now you just ruin this business. Excuse me. That's where I kind of look at it, because, everyone has an off day. Not everyone can go ahead and do things. How can I put it? Not everyone's going to be at 100%.
Right.
So I just feel like for me, if I was a small business and let's say I was sick, I was under the weather, and then someone who wasn't, the head guy took over, I would not feel comfortable with that. I mean, I've worked in a kitchen before, and when I've worked in the kitchen, there's been situations where, we get like, oh, it's this person, oh, it's that person. One of the places, one of the days that I worked at, when I worked at this establishment, we had Shaquille O'Neal in. And when we heard Shaq was in, we were like, oh shit, okay. So the head chef himself, who typically would run the line, not really hands-on cooking too much, he would just run the line and say, I need this order, please get this order, let's go. This one's at 15 minutes. Where are we at with this? With these steak tips, guys? That's what he would do. But then when he heard, oh, this is Shaq's order, he said, all right, I got it. He went around. He did the order by himself.
Wow.
After he did the order by himself, he went ahead and he put it onto the thing. He called the manager. This is Shaq's food. Make sure you bring it to him. And then he didn't let the server, he didn't let the waiter assistants or food runners bring it out. He had a manager bring it to Shaq. Because he knew it's Shaquille O'Neal. This is a big deal. We got to get this done right. And when he does these reviews, he does it, it starts right in front of the restaurant, ends outside the restaurant. Right, yeah. So you don't see if he is doing this. I've never seen him say, oh, I go ahead and I talk to the owners and they say it's fine. I've never seen that before, or heard him say that stuff before. So if he does do his due diligence and they say it's fine, hey, I'll say, hey, good on you for doing that. You did your thing. Right. But if he's just saying, no, I'm just going to do it, I don't really like that. I think it's just, you just got to, just be respectful. Be respectful and understand that you're playing with people's livelihoods.
Exactly. And like you said, it's like there are people behind the counter, and they're doing jobs, and there are food shows. There's Man versus Food. There's the Anthony Bourdain No Reservations. They specifically highlight not only the places that they go, but the restaurants, the people, the staff, the kind of food that they serve. They review the food. I mean, it's very thoughtful. It's very high production and well thought out. These reviews, all they are really is, oh, he comes out from the shop. You only see the outside. There's a guy with a camera, and then he's just spouting off his opinion, spouting off shit. And then if it's good, it's good. If it's kind of whatever, then he'll say it's kind of whatever. But it's lowest common, to me, it's lowest common denominator stuff. It's just point a camera at the thing, say your piece, and be out of there. And if you get good publicity from it, you'll get good publicity because you're welcome. It's just kind of callous, and I think it's I don't personally. Again, your mileage may vary. People like his reviews. That's fine. I just think personally, you could do so much more, and you could do so much better. So I just got I got it up. We're past the commercial. So I'm gonna play it from where we left off here.
Let me be a little clearer. Move on. Don't stand in front of my business.
Let me be clear. Fuck you.
Let me be clear.
Fuck
Get
you.
the fuck out of front of my business.
Fuck you.
Dumb
It's
as
a
you.
public
Your whole
street, you
fucking
motherfucker.
Yeah, but
it's
this
a
is my
public
business.
street. This
You
ain't
can-
your business.
Yeah, but this is my business. And you can, if you
Fuck
stay
you.
here, I'm calling the
Fuck
fucking
you.
police.
He's right across the street. Go get him. What are you gonna tattle me on for standing on the public street?
Just being a fucking
Your,
bitch.
your shirt's 6 sizes too small, fatso.
Just go fuck yourself and the whole fucking platform you're on.
Oh, you don't like the platform.
You're a joke to me, dude.
You know what? You're
Take
making
your
a
fucking
joke.
show and your fucking game and go somewhere else.
Blah, blah, blah. By
guess
the way,
what?
I've raised $50 million for small business.
Okay. So there are a couple of things that were true that were said. Oh, excuse me. There were a couple of things that were true that were said in the clip. Number one was that it was a public street. That's true. So he can technically be out there and he can technically be filming. That's fine. What's also true is that it is his business. And if he wants him to leave, he has every right to ask Dave to leave. And he says, oh, well, fuck you. Your shirt's too small, fatso, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's like, again, there's no level of respect for what you are trying to do. I mean, I know you do, Mitchell. I know you have a hard time with it. I really have a hard time justifying this behavior and even understanding the mental gymnastic that you have to go through where you're like, oh yeah, I'm promoting this place. Let me just shit all over it because some guy was, disrespectful to me. I mean, and we're going to say this a couple of different times because this really brings it in why we're talking about Dave Portnoy in the first place. You are the CEO of one of the biggest platforms in America. This level of behavior should be beneath you, but he doesn't see it that way, I don't think.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. I think he just looks at it as like, well, fuck him. I'm going to get out what I need to say. So if I want to say it, I'm going to say it.
Yeah, and again, it's a level of just not it's reacting, not thinking. It's or not responding. Responding being that there's some thought to it and then you say it. And honestly, I don't think he even apologized to this guy. The guy did. I mean, he did. After that video, people were lining up and they wanted to see what it was about, and he got good business from it. Obviously, the owner did not credit Dave Portnoy, nor, in my opinion, should he have. But, when you have that kind of attention, that is what happens. You get exposure. I don't know whether bad reviews came of this or not. I haven't looked into that too far, but it definitely got a lot of attention, and people did go to Dragon Pizza just to see what was about. Now, the next part that we're about to do is another pizza review. This is where things get kind of heavy. So from this point on, we are going to discuss, not at length, but just a few politically charged topics because it's about context. We are not a political show. We don't talk about politics on here. We want to have a fun time. We want to have a good time and look at things critically. But this is where things are going to take a bit of a dark turn. So one of the things that happened with Dave Portnoy is that Dave Portnoy had been very vocal about his views as a Jewish person and as a Bostonian regarding what happened with Israel and Palestine. And because of that, and because of his audience that are, pretty conservative leaning in many cases, he also has attracted many people on the far right, many racist people, many xenophobic people, let's say. And so because of that, they have actually been hurling many anti-Semitic slurs at him. So in this clip that we're about to watch, he is actually outside of a pizza place in Toronto. And from there, you will see that it goes pretty south very, very quickly. Mitchell, I see that you're kind of cringing a bit, but we have to show it just for some context. So without further ado, I'm gonna play it full screen and we're gonna go.
This old school terrazza, one bite, everybody knows the rules. We didn't get here the first time. Place is very cool on the inside. We got Frankie Lazzani's whole story, which almost seemed borderline not believable. Like, see, there we go. There we go. What are you guys fucking laughing about? Terrible. Exactly. So here we go. One bite, everybody knows the rules. We won't let that get into what is that Toronto hospitality there? Terrible.
So Canadians are some of the nicest, most polite, and quite frankly, one of the smartest people in the North American continent. But you are going to have people who are very ill-informed, very ignorant, and all of that. And so, understandably, like I said, Dave Portnoy, because of his views, because of the attention, because of, just who he is and what he's all about, he has been getting a lot of pressure from these groups. So, as you can see, this is, I want to be very clear that we are not a podcast that, tolerates this kind of speech or behavior, any kind of anti-Semitic, anti-Muslim, or discriminatory, bigoted statements, in our view, unacceptable. And even with Dave Portnoy and even with his, behaviors, which I frankly find unacceptable, he's under a lot of pressure. Admittedly, he's a public figure. He does a lot of things that are very provocative and whatever, but obviously he has attracted a lot of these trolls and a lot of these bad faith people. It's kind of like Dave Portnoy. If anybody was to claim to have detractors like DSP claims, it actually would be Dave Portnoy, because of the fact that these racists, these bigots, they come after him all the time. So I want to be clear that we are not condoning this kind of speech at all. However, it is important just to note that because of his views with Israel and Gaza, he has been getting a lot of attention from some of the worst people you can possibly imagine. I won't get into this too much, Mitchell. I was debating whether to show the clip, but I decided what this person said was so gross, I couldn't necessarily show it. But what I will say is that there is a prominent online figure named Sam Hyde. He went on a podcast and he made some incredibly derogatory statements regarding Dave Portnoy. I will not repeat them here. There are views that he was being provocative for the sake of being provocative, and that he didn't mean those words. Which, but anyway, go ahead, Mitchell. You have some thoughts on this.
With Sam Hyde, this is how I always take Sam Hyde. There's two Sam Hydes. There's Sam Hyde, the guy that's not on camera, and he's just a regular everyday guy. He likes to, go bowling. He likes to play PlayStation. He likes, Ed, and Eddie. There's that Sam Hyde. Then there's the other Sam Hyde who's on the camera, who's saying the most outlandish shit, just to be a shock jock, very similar to, guys like what's his name, Howard Stern.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you get from Sam Hyde. I know some people like Anissa and iDubbbz try to paint him out to be this guy who's this crazy alt-right grifter, for lack of a better term.
Mm-hmm.
I've never viewed him that way. I just viewed him as a guy who was just trying to be a very, very outlandish comedian, like very outlandish. Like he wants to say crazy stuff. And is it necessarily right? No. I'll say it's not right, but that's his comedy style.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people that make jokes about rape and suicide and things like that, and I'm gonna have to edit that out. But people make jokes about everything. If you don't find it funny, how you doing? Keep it moving. That's it. And Sam Hyde he finds things that tend to be controversial. He tends to find them to be very, very funny. And again, people like Anissa and iDubbbz, who we will do an episode on them soon. I can't wait for that.
I'm sure we will. Yeah, no doubt about that.
They claim to be above all that, but yet they made millions or got millions of views off of saying controversial things and doing controversial things, and they just want to pull the ladder up so that no one can be on their level.
Yeah,
and it's a damn shame.
It is, and getting back into it, again, the things that people have been saying to Dave Portnoy is unacceptable, and Dave actually is pretty guilty of saying some of the stuff that you were, using examples of. And again, this is just a part of his image as a provocateur, as sort of the average, alpha male dude, right?
Yeah.
But every time. So here's where we really get into the main event. Every time that someone has mentioned Jews or Jewish jokes or anything about anything regarding that, he will go on camera on his Twitter account and just rip them new assholes because he feels like people should not be talking the way they are. Now, that's about free speech. And he's been doing it for months now. So this isn't like this is all of a sudden he's just this revelation about him talking about free speech and, oh my God, where is this coming from? Oh my God, this is so profound. He's been doing this for months and maybe even a few years. Again, I haven't paid a close enough attention to know, but I can definitely say he's been talking about it a lot. And so, but here is the main thing. Here is where we really get into what is going on. This is going to be a long clip, so I may pause every once in a while, but we're definitely going to skip into what happens on the unnamed show. It's him, Kirk, Minahan, who also has his own show. We'll get into that in a minute, and their third co-host, who I don't give a shit what his name is, right? So we're going to watch. This is they were talking about specifically what happened in Boulder, Colorado. A really, truly, abysmally unacceptable, horrific event. Crazy person from Egypt had Molotov cocktails, went ahead and did some really horrible things, and people were hurt, and they were also killed during this protest. So because of all the things that have kind of been building up to this point, and because of all the opinions that Dave has been sharing, he decided to talk about it on the unnamed show. And he also had a problem with some of the things that Kirk in particular was saying. So the tagline is, when does freedom of speech impinge on my freedom of religion? Now, I think he meant infringe, but I think in the moment he just sort of mixed his words up. So we're going to watch this right now. And I'll skip ahead toward the middle at a certain point.
I think right now you probably
nothing.
Don't do
nothing. Silence everything. What do you? Every comedian, don't tell a joke about it because Dave, that's how the world works. I agree with you.
Go back to your question. When does freedom of speech impinge?
That was your question, not
religion?
mine. That was your question.
Answer it.
How many deaths?
Yeah.
I don't have an answer. What's your
how
answer?
in America, American
what's
citizens?
Your answer? What's your answer to that question?
Now.
Okay, we're there. Now. So now what? So now what do we do?
So maybe you stop with the fucking Jew jokes and act like it's not a big deal when someone does fuck the Jews in a bar.
Or no, here's the thing. I'm with you 1,000% on that. You should fucking kick those people out. Of course you should.
I'm not talking about kicking them out. I'm talking about.
You want to go to jail? Like, what do you want? Like.
You are defending this guy Mick for what he said right after that happened. He's not anti-Semitic.
I'm not defending him. No,
if your brain goes in,
I'm not defending him, Dave. What I'm saying is, you should have him on here or somebody else.
It.
Okay. So,
yeah, you pause it a little bit more frequently.
Okay.
You want to pause it more.
Do you want me to restart? Because I can get to 30 seconds. accidentally.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. No, we can just keep going from here, but pause it more frequently. So, like, I mean, you can tell, like, definitely in this situation that they're all like, well, I mean, the guy on the left's kind of just there.
Yeah. He's
But,
literally just like,
know,
"Oh, I
these
don't know
two,
what's going on, but I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut."
yeah, he's like, I want no part in this. But you can tell that they're both very much, they're passionate about this. They're very much passionate about it, and I think that you can make a joke about anything.
Yeah.
I think you can. You just have to understand that if you say a joke about something and no one laughs, well, then it's a pretty bad joke. But you can make a joke about anything. That's my feeling on it. I don't think you should censor yourself or censor jokes. I think just crack jokes and have fun. That's my personal feeling on the matter. So to go ahead and just say like, oh, we need to censor that, and obviously if someone is saying something in a malicious with malicious intent, they should be kicked from private establishments. There's places that I go to, but let's say if I went to my local McDonald's and there's someone outside saying fuck the Jews, or there's someone inside the restaurant rather that's saying fuck the Jews, and I'm like, can you guys get rid of this guy? And they say no, I'm not going to give them my
Right.
business.
At
That's
that
how
point, they
that's
are
how I'm going to fight
obligated
that.
to kick out people who are saying offensive things. The
Yeah,
restaurant.
exactly. Now if he doesn't, yeah. Now if it happens outside on the sidewalk, I can't say, hey, McDonald's, go take care of that guy. I can't do
Right.
that.
Because that's in public.
Because it's a public sidewalk. Then that falls with the police, and hey, they're spreading hate speech.
Exactly.
But that's a different story. I mean, so I mean, these guys are kind of saying the same thing, but they're just kind of yelling at each other to a certain extent. Like again, it's I don't think comedians should be censored. I don't think that we should go ahead and be like, oh no comedian can tell jokes anymore. Like I
Right.
don't believe
No,
that.
Dave's problem is
Um,
because of the horrible things that have been happening as of late, you can't make jokes
yeah.
about Jews. Kirk's argument is, but they're jokes, so what? And they are
So
really talking
what I
past
would
each other as a result.
yeah, what I would say about that is I think that there's more underlying issues. I think that with the way that things are right now in the country as a whole, I'm not going to get too political, but I just think that there's just so many things that I mean, kids nowadays are just so heavily influenced. You have so many different streams, so many different streamers, so much technology at their fingertips. Like these kids are getting exposed to so many different things that it's absolutely insane. I remember playing PlayStation in middle school and getting called racial slurs that I had to Google search to know what they meant. And now video games and technology have expanded so much that it's even worse now. Now you have guys like Hassan Baby Oil Diddy, Hamas Piker, who go ahead and they're saying, like they should go like, oh, look at this senator. I'm going to post a picture of a homemade gun. Oh, look at this. I'm going to post a picture of this. And it's just, it's terrible rhetoric and it's stuff like that spreads. And you have kids that get, open to this stuff. For me, I think one, it's the parents' fault. I think you need to monitor what your kids are watching, but also for platforms like Twitch, when you go ahead and you have that rhetoric being said, not just by Hassan, but
A lot of different people,
Jahaba the
not just
Hutt.
Hassan, but yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Frogan, Jahaba the Hutt, as I call her, that whale, when she goes ahead and she's saying that too, and then you have Denim supporting them, Bad Empanada. You have a lot of these people going ahead and saying these terrible, terrible things with no consequences at all. Then that falls on Twitch, and at some point, Twitch is going to get canned because that they're allowing this rhetoric. And I think someone like Hassan who goes ahead and constantly, what's your favorite flag, Hassan? Oh, the Hamas flag. Oh, you mean the one that's from a terrorist organization? Great job, bud. I just think things like that. Again, that type of rhetoric just gets way too out there. It's too crazy. Yeah. And for me, I just miss the simpler days where people were going ahead and using free cam on Call of Duty to make episodes for YouTube.
Right.
Nowadays, everything's so politically charged. Everything is so one-sided. You can't make jokes anymore, and it's sad and it's unfortunate. And the new generation of kids are paying for it, and it's because again, these big corporations and lack of parenting. And I feel sorry for the future generation of kids.
It all, I think what you meant, you say it, but I think what it really comes down to is that there is free speech in which you can say what you want without the government taking, your stuff down, or having punishment for saying an opposing viewpoint. But with free speech comes free speech with consequences. Private, companies can take down whatever they feel like they can take down. That does not infringe on your freedom of speech. That is within their rights as a private company. In public, that's different. And I think a lot of people don't really understand these distinctions and these differences. And the other thing, the second thing is that we really are, and the world is really like this too, but in particular in the United States, we do have a lot of viewpoints, we do have a lot of different opinions, and there are a lot of different channels that reinforce these opinions at the exact same time. So instead of really trying to look past your own viewpoints, these people want, and kids, older adults, middle-aged people, whatever, they want to have their views reinforced because they feel like they are not being listened to. And so, which is legitimate. And I think that there's a lot of hurt and a lot of pain going on right now. That's why you see a lot of people are angry. That's why you see a lot of things going on right now. Again, I'm not going to get into that too much. But we aren't trying to talk to each other or discuss with each other to understand each other. People are trying to create an agenda for themselves and say, I'm right, you're wrong, this is why you're wrong. And again, that's not about listening. That's just about fighting and dominating over people. And we've lost as a society that sense of trying to really figure out how to understand each other. And unfortunately, with something like this, with Dave and Kirk, we're really going to get into the blowout, and we're going to really get into it, because we're going to highlight now the bigger problem here with why this blowout is problematic. So I'm going to start right here.
Jew jokes of that nature now.
We'll ban Jew jokes of that nature. We'll get the Constitution, we'll get Congress, and stop Jew jokes of that nature.
I'll go back to this.
Yeah.
When does freedom of speech impinge on freedom of religion?
I think freedom of speech should. I think freedom of speech is the most important thing in this country.
Okay, so people can go kill the Jews, and there's no responsibility if someone goes and kills Jews.
Okay, I'm just gonna pause right there. I'm just gonna skip a little ahead, and then we're gonna play.
No, but not saying, "Hey, go kill Jews."
That's different. No. What do you mean?
You can say somebody should go kill Jews. You don't do it, but someone hears you and goes do it. You're fine with that?
Fine. Somebody says, "Go kill Jews."
Yes.
No, that's different than telling. I thought we were talking about telling a joke. I thought we were talking about comedians.
They are all using semantics for anti-Semitism right now. And I can tell the difference because for 20 years of doing it, I've never.
Yeah, and this is what I was saying too. I mean, you have, again, they're using semantics. You have a lot of these people on these streams where they go ahead and they use semantics like Portnoy is saying, which I agree with 100%. They'll say something like, I'm not saying someone should go out there and go kill this guy. I'm just saying life would be a lot easier if he was dead. And it's stuff like that where it's like, obviously you're trying to entice someone who's a radical within your audience to go out there and do something regretful. Yeah. Don't do that. It's terrible. It's terrible rhetoric. And this is why I say, I don't think necessarily, like, they talked about Congress. They talked about things like, that's not a Congress thing. That is a platform thing.
Yes.
That's YouTube. That's Kick. That's Twitch. Right. That's all of them. All those different platforms. That's what they need to do. They need to enforce the proper rhetoric. They need to enforce proper terms of service. Someone like Frogan, or as I call her, Jabba the Hutt, she went ahead and she, said, if soldiers get PTSD, I hope soldiers get PTSD. Then she talked about how she wanted to make 9/11 cake, where she was going to have two towers, and she was going to make a cake out of a plane and crash it into the tower. I mean,
obviously, she should see. You can
never
say
been banned.
That, even though
never been banned. Never been
Right,
banned.
exactly.
But Tectone called her obese and got banned
Right.
for a week.
So
Bullshit.
right. So what I was saying was, can she say that? Yes. Will she have repercussions or consequences because of that? Yes,
She should.
because Twitch is a private company and they can take that down.
They should.
I don't endorse that, but that's the truth.
Yes.
You know,
Twitch
so,
should take her down, but they haven't, and they never
they
will.
should, right? Exactly. I agree. They should, but they haven't. Now I'm gonna. I think I couldn't find where the actual thing is. This is 12 seconds. I think this is the actual blow up. So we're gonna get to the blow up right now. I'm gonna share my screen really quick. Full screen. Let's go.
I'll go back to this.
Yeah.
When does freedom of speech?
Oh wait, no, that's not it.
I'll go back to this.
That's the wrong clip. Okay,
I'll go back to this.
I think at the end you wouldn't disagree with that much. Have a conversation, which is what I thought you were trying to do. Hold on one second. Which I thought you were trying to do with bringing these guys to Auschwitz, trying to have a conversation. So you put a name in the face of somebody who you disagree with and have an actual conversation.
Where's the? Gosh darn it! This is. I should have timestamped this. I think it's right here.
Semantics for
No,
anti-Semitic. We're in a different.
That's not true. Then when you start
Throw any of these people in jail.
In my mind, no, that's a
Yes.
yeah.
When
If you
does
want
freedom
to
of speech
take it off the screen,
impinge
take
on-
off the screen, listen to it real quick, and then I'll just say, I'll just talk.
Just say a bunch of things, and then I'll yeah. Okay.
So Evan
sorry
searches
about
for
that. Go ahead.
But as Evan searches for that, as I was saying, I think the most dangerous thing is when you have platforms that don't what's the term I'm looking for, where they don't enforce the proper rhetoric. We've seen Twitch now go ahead and take a huge tumble. It was one of the most popular streaming sites because of just how easy and how accessible and how it treated not just the creators on the platform, but also the fans that were donating. It treated them very well. That it created different forms so you can donate. It went ahead and gave you different things that you can do and to interact with your favorite streamers. But now they're a show of their forms of their former selves where they can't go ahead and not enforce their own rules, enforce the proper rhetoric. They allow for these crazy individuals to go ahead and spread misinformation. And at some point, if Twitch goes ahead and they just can't, if they can't handle it, I think the government will step in. But right now, it's just absolutely just dangerous to allow for some of these crazy individuals to talk and to spread. Especially, there's a lot of rhetoric towards people of Jewish descent or of the Jewish practice, whatever terminology you want to use, or people who are Jewish, whatever.
I mean, any religion, really. I mean, it's persecution of any people, Muslims, Christians, anybody.
But I will. Jewish people right now, they're being targeted the most. You had the shooting, the 2 Israeli diplomats, and then you had this other thing with, the walk in Colorado. I mean, it's crazy. It's and this is something that Ethan Klein. We're going to be talking about this too. Ethan Klein, H3, it's stuff that he talked about as well. So. But,
yeah, we'll get into it. I have different opinions on you about him, but we'll get into that later. I found it. This is the actual part. We're gonna have to rearrange some of these parts because it's a little out of order. But I'm sure you'll figure it out in post. So in the meantime, this is the blow up. We may pause a little bit, but anyway, we'll go ahead.
You're quite literally changing everything you say, Kirk. If you just want me to kick him out, not mention it, not care that this kid is anti-Semitic, shut up. If you just want me to ignore it,
don't tell me to shut up.
Shut the fuck up, you bald fuck.
Okay, go ahead.
How's that?
Oh, it's kill. I'll never recover from that, Dave. Go ahead, continue. I'll never recover.
Well, you're the one who big boss man. Don't tell. I'll tell you work for me.
Okay, go ahead. Continue.
You little bitch. You work for me.
Sure, you bet. For now.
Oh, you
continue.
don't? For now, quit. I don't care.
Is this show or not a show? Is a show or not a show? We can't have a conversation?
You're an idiot.
Okay, continue.
You're literally saying people should be allowed to make Jew jokes, say whatever they want right fucking now.
Yes, I think people should be allowed to make jokes.
So how many motherfucking Jews have to be killed before you stop?
Then everybody's. I don't think.
What else? Where else is that happening with the religion or people?
I don't think those psychopaths.
Okay. So so here's my thing. So we're going to repeat this again, just so everyone understands. You are the CEO of Barstool Sports. You are not just a guy. You are not hired talent. You are not someone who is provocative and says on your mind, and you were hired by the company to do it. You are the boss. You are the guy. Kirk is your employee. And the problem with what happened here is a couple of things. Number one is that he used his leverage as his boss to say, if you do not agree with me, if you are challenging me on this one point. Now, in the later part of the clip, obviously they worked it out, they hashed it out, right? So, they were able to figure it out. And the rest of the show, whatever, right? But if you are going to, use your leverage as a CEO to say, I need you to shut up about what you are saying. You cannot disagree with me, or else you're being disrespectful, and I will threaten to let you go. That is a very big problem. It's not just a problem in terms of the platform that you have. It's a platform in terms of the work culture that you are putting out there and saying, this is our brand, Barstool Sports. If you disagree with me, fuck you. I'm going to say whatever the fuck I want. And people are going to follow my lead because, and their the whole thing about them is that we can say what's on our minds, and we are going to say, what other people aren't able to say. But when you say to somebody, no, you have to agree with me or else I'm just going to threaten to fire you, that undermines that mission entirely. And not only that, and we're going to get to this part in a second, it permeates throughout the rest of the culture. Kirk, we could do a whole other episode just about him. He's got, I would argue, even bigger problems compared to Dave. Dave was really just very emotional, and he couldn't wrap around this opinion that Kirk had. But Kirk also is a very provocative and I would argue quite a crazy individual. Now, he had some good points in the clips that we showed you, and I think that's pretty clear. But again, this is what people were pointing out. They were pointing out the hypocrisy about what Dave was trying to say and how it comes across in the clip itself, because it's all about perception. All of these different kinds of shows, our show, Howard Stern, Opie and Anthony, it's all about perception. And the other thing also that I would say is this: Howard Stern and Opie and Anthony, they kind of were the shows, the radio shows that kind of opened the door for a Barstool Sports to even exist. But there's a difference between being vindictive and yelling and screaming and just being entirely unpleasant and doing things in the name of comedy or in the name of entertainment. Howard Stern, they said the worst shit you could possibly think of all the time. But there was an entertainment value to it. It was all about the humor. It was all about the comedy. Here, it's just screaming and yelling and middle-aged men butthurt because they can't understand each other. And I just feel like we could be doing so much better, not just in what we were talking about before in terms of people saying their views without thinking they have consequences, but to put something out there that you're trying to establish yourselves as this is a guy's channel, this is for guys, but then you're encouraging people to like basically be verbally abusive or verbally violent to each other. I just feel like you have a responsibility as a platform, at the very least, to give people a safe space, a space to try to learn, to grow, to be a part of a community, instead of stabbing each other with knives in each other's gullets.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, that was a power trip. That really was. He was crashing out on a power trip. Like, it's my fucking company. Sick. Then do it yourself. Like, why have him there? You're like, there's plenty of people that just take their phone, flip the camera, it's facing them, and they just talk. You could have easily sent out a message on your Instagram. I mean, it's all unnecessary, and this is the type of stuff with Dave Portnoy that makes me scratch my head. It's just he just goes on these like some of these tangents, and I'm like, what is with this guy? So, yeah, that's all I can say about that.
Yeah, and again, it's like you are not hired talent. You are the CEO. You have bigger responsibilities than what you are presenting here on your own show in your own network.
Hmm.
Um, Now, again, this got a lot of attention. People were going crazy. And again, we're not going to show you all the reactions. I don't want to show you really a lot of reactions because, again, there's some really vile, heinous stuff that was put out on Twitter.
Hmm.
But this is the next part that we're going to get to. This is we're not going to play the whole thing. I'm probably going to play maybe like the first minute or so. But he did issue a statement because of the attention that it was getting. Oh, and here's another thing too. All of the shows from Viva La Stool, Barstool Sports, the main Twitter account, all the main social media accounts, they were trying to actually capitalize on the attention that they were getting and saying, oh, this is normal. Oh, we bust our balls all the time. It's not a big deal. Like, oh, whatever. And right. So, and they were trying to say, this is a part of our
Downplay it.
brand and this is part of what we are.
Yeah, they try to
Right.
downplay it.
Try to downplay it. And it's like, but when you're in a PR crisis and when you're getting a lot of attention, the worst thing you can do is say that this is normal because people have eyes and people have ears. And if they are saying, if an audience is saying a certain thing or talking about it in a certain way, especially in a very negative light, that's not a good look on you.
Hmm.
Now, it may not change the dynamics in terms of, oh, obviously this is going to ruin their reputation. Oh, their views are going to go down. But again, it's still not a good look as a result, even if you're getting a lot of attention. Like we were saying before about the fact that, Dave Portnoy, he gave Dragon Pizza a very negative review. But guess what? People showed up and he got really good business out of even negative publicity. But still, this is negative publicity, and this was not a very good look for him. So as a result, even though they were trying to capitalize on it and it kind of backfired on them as a result, and to downplay this as a result of the crash out, um, he issued this statement. Well, I would argue that he went about it in the most typical Dave Portnoy way, but also not great. So you'll see in a minute why.
All right, real quick. I got a conference, but this rant, I'm going viral per usual, trending on Twitter. That's what this guy does. I open my mouth and it just goes everywhere. I know it, clip, that's the deal. The latest one, me and Kirk from Unnamed, me yelling at Kirk, and he got everyone, oh, how could Dave ever talk to his employees like that? And fat boy Jason Whitlock, oh, he's evil. And Des Bryant, well, is he run like an offshore gambling company or something? He's like, don't ever, how can you
Oh, why when you talk about this? Oh, it's not. Oh, oh, how horrible Dave Portnoy is. It's like you're gonna begin your statement that addresses the problem by saying, no, it's not my fault, it's your fault. Are we really going to do that? Mitchell, Mitchell, I have a
That's
job.
egregious.
You have a job, Do
Yeah.
you think that in any normal situation that if your boss got some heat for something that he did, that anybody would tolerate it, do you think?
Yeah, no. I mean, again, this is the worst possible way to handle any type of criticism. I've been in situations before where I've messed up and I did the wrong thing. Whether it's sending the wrong order to the wrong customer, depending on what job I was doing, or putting the wrong thing on the wrong order for like when I worked at Subway. I've messed up at jobs. You just own it. You just own it and you move on. That's the best way to do it. You don't try to make excuses. You don't try to use it as a flex like, oh, it's because I'm him. That's why they do that.
Exactly.
Do that.
Dave, it's okay to hire a PR person to help you create a statement. It's fine. It's normal. You can do that. You don't have to ramble on with your camera on and say, oh, well, I'm going to say what's on my mind and what's in my head. Like, you can hire a PR person. You're a CEO. You can do it. You have money. You're a millionaire, dude. I don't know if he's a billionaire, but he is absolutely a very rich millionaire. He has the money. He can do it. He can afford one. He can do it.
I was going to say he's on his way. So
he's on his way. Exactly. All right, we're going to play the rest of the clip and then we'll continue.
Talk to your employees like that. These guys just shut up and mind your business. Welcome to Barstool, all right? This is how we talk to each other back and forth, especially Kirk and I. So just shut up. shut up. Those people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. This is about the bigger thing. And again, clips, what we talk about, taken out of context. Now I'm seeing, oh, Dave wants to throw people in jail for Jew jokes, and Dave wants to regulate Jew jokes. He's been this free speech guy, and remember, he sang that Ja Rule lyric.
Well, the problem here is that actually that is what a lot of people are saying. That is a lot of what people are arguing. And if you're calling attention to that and saying, well, it's not a big deal, and this is what people are saying, you're not actually assuaging their concerns. You're actually reinforcing their points.
Yep.
And guess what's going to happen? And this is what we said, right? People go to individual channels to have their own beliefs reaffirmed. When you have Dave Portnoy say the things that he just said, and that these are what other people are saying, they're going to take it. They're going to take, like football, they're going to take the ball, they're going to run it to the end goal, and then they're going to get a touchdown because they're reinforcing that point to their audience, and that's going to make him look bad. It's going to make his whole brand look bad. But does he care? Well, no, of course not. He probably will be able to recuperate from this. But the bottom line is, when you're the CEO and not hired talent, you can't afford to make these very callous mistakes. We're a very small podcast. It's just me and Mitchell, right? But we take stuff behind the scenes. We sort things out all the time behind the scenes. There are things we don't even say on the show. Mitchell, you shit talk me all the fucking time off camera.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to repeat half the shit that you say.
Most of the time, I
figure
tell
it out.
Evan
We
to
work
get
it out.
fucked.
Yeah, exactly. We figure it out. We work it out, and then when we get on the show, we make it work. Dave Portnoy, he is airing his dirty laundry. Kirk is airing his dirty laundry on the air, and there's no entertainment value in that. It is toxic. It's hurtful. It is incredibly, and it encourages the wrong people to behave in the wrong way. That is, I think, one of the most irresponsible things that you could ever do with a platform. And they've been known to do this for years. But especially in this really hyper partisan environment, I don't think that anybody can afford to make these kinds of mistakes. And they do it all the time, and especially with who they attract in their audience.
Exactly. I think, again, PR teams are super important. Everyone should have them. And the reason why you have them is not because, people think that you're illiterate or think that you're a moron. It's just good to bounce ideas off of people. One of my professors in college was actually a PR person, or he was a crisis communicator. He worked with former presidents. He worked with George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama. And he actually got invited to be part of the cabinet for Donald Trump, and he actually brought in the letter to show us.
Oh, no kidding! Wow.
But he declined. He's like, I'm in my 70s, man. I come out. I do the teaching just to get out of the house. And I was like, yeah, that's understandable. But he was a crisis communicator, and he talked about what his main thing was. He just went ahead and he had a plan, and he explained how his plan worked. He said, all right, I need to know about you. What do I need to know about you? You're this person. What's the situation? What did you do? Okay, you kicked a puppy. All right, how are we going to go ahead and we're going to do this? We're going to fix this. And he broke down a couple of situations that he did. He also worked with some celebrities too, as well. So I forgot who we did. I just remember I was like, he worked with 3 presidents. That's like, that was the part that stood out to me. I was like, holy shit, like this dude's got credentials.
He's an important guy.
Yeah,
he put his money where his mouth is. He didn't make a big fuss. He just did the work, and he was with 3 presidents. I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah, and but he laid out.
And they were 2
plan.
terms each. It's like 16 times 3. Do the math on that.
Well, what was Bill Clinton 2 terms?
Or sorry, 8. 8 times 3. What am I saying? Anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I thought Bill Clinton. Yeah, I know Bush and Obama because I was older.
Bill, Bush, Obama were 2-term presidents, so that's 8 years each.
Yeah, so that's the same. But yeah, so he talked about his plan and how he went ahead and helped them out and certain celebrities out, and just by doing certain things. And again, he laid out his plan. Like, I need to know about you. I need to know where you're from. I need to know what the situation is. I need to know how quickly are we trying to turn this around. And then they organized a media event, organized different situations. He talked about all of that stuff. And for him to go ahead and break it down that way, it shows you why some of these guys, even if you don't even have like a crisis per se, like maybe you flubbed up on something and you just want someone to help you out. That's why the crisis communicators are there. Tom Brady probably has someone on retainer, and it was probably for something for him just misspeaking on something. Like, hey Tom, did you realize that you said it was my that I did that when really it was the running back that ran the ball and fumbled. It's fine. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, just want to let you know, Tom. Like, there's people that help you study and learn your own tendencies so that you don't do it and then don't throw yourself under the bus. But Dave here, I mean, he's very brazen. I mean, we heard him talk. He's very brazen. It's all about him, and it's all about he's going to say what he wants when he wants. And I mean, he's a guy that seems like he's willing to die on his sword. So,
yeah.
There's
a level of respect to that. But the brazenness and the callousness of how he goes about his life and to treat things as, oh, I'm just a regular guy and I don't have to face any consequences. It's the absolute wrong approach. And it's kind of like what you said, in my view, if you are a media figure, I mean, one of the photos that you showed, Mitchell, was that he was on Late Night with Seth Meyers, and he wore the T-shirt with the Roger Goodell with the clown nose. He was on a talk show, right? So he's not just any guy. He's a millionaire, and he can get himself to wherever he needs to get himself to, including talk shows, including interviews, if he so chose to. And it's just, and again, it's like, the expression teamwork makes the dream work. If you have PR people, and if you have people who really truly care about the brand, you have a network of support, and you can't go wrong with that. And what he has, unfortunately, is a network of people who they are tearing themselves down consistently. Because if you say the wrong opinion, then you're going to get eviscerated for it. And that wasn't that way before. I'm sure of it. I was never around Barstool Sports. I never paid attention to any of that stuff. I only knew of it somewhat distantly. But now, actually going into the hole, going in really deep and studying what this whole thing is about, it's been eye-opening for me. I did not know half of this stuff. I didn't know even 7/8 of this stuff. I didn't know, because there's so many layers to this, and not just Barstool Sports, but there's an entire network of all these male macho guys. That's called the Manosphere. I don't know if we talked about it earlier in the show, but it's a whole thing. We're not going to get into it right now, but the Barstool Sports is one major aspect of the Manosphere. Joe Rogan is in the Manosphere. A lot of other people are there too. A lot of right-wing commentators are considered within there. Don't think a lot of left-leaning people are there, but I'm sure there are a few, but not many, right? Now we're gonna get to this last part. I may pause just a little bit, but it's really it's like a minute long, like the other clip. So this is Kirk Minahan on his own show, not the unnamed show with Dave and the quiet guy and him. This is his show, and he has a producer, and the producer wanted to express his opinion regarding what happened and his opinion about the fact that he defends some of the Jew jokes or whatever, right? So we're going to get into that right now. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to play it. But like I said, Kirk, you could do a whole Internet Uncapped episode just about him. There's a lot that you could uncover about him. So we're going to, and then remember, just keep in mind, this is who Dave yelled at. Okay, but let's watch the clip right now.
I got one producer who wants to quit, who hates me. I got one producer who wants to quit, who hates me.
Yeah.
One second. I was hoping for Justin to say he didn't. I was leaving that in the air.
I don't hate you.
Does that feel like that to you, Dave, or no?
I think he loves you.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
What happened? He doesn't love me anymore?
No, it's not that I don't love you. It's just I lost a lot of respect for you this week.
You did?
I did, yeah. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
From the fight the other day?
Really quick.
Yeah.
You're the boss of this guy, similar to what happened with Dave and Kirk, and you're trying to say that one of your producers doesn't love you. Like, do you have like is something wrong? Is everything okay? Like, is something wrong at home? Like, why are you trying to pressure one of your producers to like say that you love them or that you like, oh, praise Kirk, you have to respect me? Like, what is going on here that you have to like pressure this poor producer guy just to say that?
What happens with a lot of these podcasts is once they get 3 or 4 people, it's just they go ahead and they tend to pick on the weakest one. You look at the impulsive podcast with Logan Paul and that guy Mike. They had the dude George on there, and they just bullied the shit out of George. Like, they would constantly make fun of his religious beliefs. They would make fun of like the things that he believed in. Right. You named it. They made fun of him, and now he's left. And they try to act like he never existed, or they try to just still throw shade at him for no reason. He's living his best life. He's doing his own podcast. He's doing things his way. He wants to be a stand-up comedian. I've never been one to necessarily shit on someone's dreams. If he wants to be a stand-up comedian, hey, God bless. I hope he does what he can. I hope he has fun with it. But like with George, like I listen to 2 episodes of the Impulsive podcast, and the way that they just berate that guy, the fact that he stayed on there for like over 50 episodes. I don't know how many episodes he was on there specifically for, but if he was on there for over 50, dude, like that's just crazy to me. And like the guests, like they would have the guests be disrespectful too to him. Like, it just, again, like respect is everything. So, I mean, for this situation, like he knew obviously the producer was pissed off, and the producer's probably going to say why he's pissed off in a second once we play the clip. Yeah. But it's like, why bring that up? That's something that you discuss behind the scenes, and then you make amends, and then you just have a good fucking show. This is clearly 2 things. One, it's just trying to get rage clickbait, which is just so unnecessary. Have faith in the content that you're talking about, that it's going to be good and worthwhile, instead of going for cheap likes or cheap clicks. Like, don't be a fucking bum. That's
don't
first.
Be a bum. Do the work and make it entertaining. Don't just rage out at people and then promote it, because that's lazy. It's like you said, Yeah,
and so that's the first thing. The second thing is like, it's just, I think it's just bad practice. I think it's just bad practice. If you're gonna make any type of content, I think that the best thing to do with your team is to make sure that there's no static. What's the point of going ahead and just creating this type of noise or this type of static just so you can go ahead and again, just get some cheap views? Like you go ahead and you get 100 casual views, but you lose 10 of the hardcore viewers. Is there any more of that clip that we're going to play?
There's more. Yeah, no, there's more. I just wanted to briefly just get out, but we're going to watch the last half of it, and this is where things get really out of control very quickly.
Just from everything, kind of. So.
It's not the Jewish thing.
No, it has nothing to do with the Jewish thing. But
you lost a lot of respect for me.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So. Then you probably shouldn't work here anymore.
No, I want to work here. So.
Even though you don't respect me?
Yeah, it's my job. You pay me to do this. So
if you don't respect me, I don't want you to work here.
Okay.
Why would I want that? I don't want to fight again, but like I don't need that. You should respect your boss.
Yeah, you should, but I don't right now. So.
At all?
I got one producer who wants to quit, who hates me.
That's the end of the clip.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I thought that there's one part of that clip. All right, let me did we get out of here? Okay, good. There is another part of that clip, and if I can find it, I think this is it. Oh, this is it. Okay, sorry. Apologies, everybody. This is the part coming up now where he explodes. I think what happened was that the clip cut off right at the point where he was about to like blow up. So I'm gonna share this right now. Mitchell, it gets crazy.
Oh no, I just had something in my eye.
Show you right now. Oh, okay. I thought you were like, oh Jesus Christ. All good. Anyway, we're I think let me just click through a second.
You work for me, fat boy.
There we go.
You work for me. So you fuck up like that, and I give you a fucking pass. That's way big. Real life. You're raised you, and your grandfather raised you.
Oh, let me start for the very beginning.
Fucking bitch. Like a fucking baby. That's what you are. You're a fucking baby who's never lived a life. You go around in your fucking pool in little circles and let your dad raise you and your grandfather raise you. You won't live a real life. You're a fucking baby. Look, you yelled at me earlier this week, so shut your fucking mouth.
Okay.
You
didn't
work
yell
for
at
me,
him.
fat boy.
Correct.
You work for me. So you fuck up like that, and I give you a fucking pass. That's way bigger fucking loyalty than something with Mick or something with your pretend girlfriend or any of that bullshit. So you should look at the real stuff.
Okay. So yeah, no, he did
yeah.
not yell at him. He didn't yell at him at all. He was dead quiet the
Well, he
whole
said
time.
earlier.
I'm
You
gonna
said
stop sharing
earlier
this
in.
again.
You said earlier in the week, so it's probably another episode.
No. So what happened? So this was when they say earlier in the week. This was actually the next day. I don't know why they said earlier in the week, because the Dave Portnoy that happened on either Wednesday or Thursday.
No.
And this
What
happened
he's saying is the ginger guy.
Yeah.
So he's saying he yelled at him earlier in the week because that's what he said. He said, "You yelled at
Oh.
me earlier in the week, fat boy."
Excuse me. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, but still, I mean, just to hurl insults. What the fuck is happening at Barstool that everyone just insults each other? Like, this is just, I don't know. It's weird to me. Like, when I say stuff to you, you can tell it's clearly a joke, but there's some like malicious intent behind this. Like, you fat boy, your
Very.
pretend girlfriend.
Why did you shut up? Your grandfather, your grandmother took care of you.
your father and your grandfather. Like, that's, I don't know, man. That's,
What are you talking about here? And it gets worse, and it gets way worse. And like I said, you could do a whole, but this is what I was trying to say earlier. And I think, and what's interesting is that Kirk is actually more articulate as compared to Dave in this way. He is saying, well, if I don't get respect, then what's the point of you being here? Oh, why is it that, we're doing this? Whereas Dave's like, shut up, you're going to do what I say, shut up, blah, 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 blah. Right? Kirk, I feel, is a more malicious actor as compared to Dave, even though Dave, what he did was wrong. But because of what happened with Dave, I would argue, because of what happened with Dave, Kirk is now taking his stuff out on everybody. And guess what's going to happen? That person's going to do the same thing. And that one person's going to do the same thing. And because nobody is controlling these people, they feel like they're going to go on the air and just put it out there. Just completely just hammer it on whoever and not get counseling, people. Go to therapy. Get counseling. The Michael Jordan meme. Stop it. Get some help. Like, please, like, you don't have to do this. There is no entertainment value in shitting all over someone on a personal level. Howard Stern doesn't shit on people on a personal level. They bust their balls a lot. They joke a lot. They say a lot of provocative shit a lot, but there's comedy in what they were doing. I am sure that all the people who are on Howard Stern, or even the people on Opie and Anthony before they went off the rails and kind of like shit the bed, they were all there because they wanted to put on a good show. I don't understand why they would be doing this, or what the whole point of them screeching at each other, yelling at all these, personal viewpoints is. Like, are you going to put on a good show, or are you going to do screaming matches all the time? What are you doing? So anyway, I'm not going to even bother playing the rest of the clip. It gets way worse than that. But like I said, Mitchell, you could do an entire episode. We did Dave Portnoy specifically. There could be an entire episode on Kirk. There's a lot of stuff going on with Kirk. So in the meantime, as a bit of a palate cleanser, this is 17 seconds. I want to show you guys this video, and to our audio listeners, this is basically a duck in a swimming pool.
Nice. She's just trying to swim. Don't kill. Yeah, she wants to swim, Gary. Kill her, Gary.
Kill her, Gary.
Kill her now. Kill her. Oh yeah, good boy. Good boy, Gary. Yes.
I'd rather watch that video of the duck for multiple times a day than whatever the hell is going on with Barstool Sports. Get him, Jerry. Get Kirk and Dave. Get him.
Get him now.
I just unfrickin' believable. I'm going to wrap this up right now, but let me just say that there's a lot of layers to it. I think we covered a lot of ground here. There are two big things I think that everybody should be taking away.
I got one thing. All right, fine, I'll edit it out. Fine, don't be a bitch.
There we go. You're going to have to intersplice that. He said a not great word, folks. All right, so don't be a bitch.
C.
damn it. All right, fine. We'll keep that. We'll keep that, but we won't say what it is. All right. First thing is that free speech does not mean free speech without consequence, especially when it comes to private companies. In public, you should be allowed to say, protest, do whatever needs to be done. Okay? Even some of the heinous, most horrible speech in public is protected under our First Amendment. That's number one. But number two, if you promote a certain culture within your network, it's going to permeate. It's going to get worse. People are going to follow your example because you're supposed to be a leader. You're not supposed to be someone who says whatever they want without consequence. And Dave, Kirk, whoever else is doing this crap, please, you gotta knock it off and cut it out. But more importantly, Mitchell, don't be a bitch. So, any last words besides that, Mitchell, to wrap up the show?
Thank you for everyone for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. Make sure you get all the notifications out there. Be sure to check us out on Spotify as well as Apple Podcasts. And hope everyone had a happy and healthy weekend. We're recording this on Sunday the 8th. And we look forward to the next episode.
Kill her, Jerry. Get her, Jerry. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.
Deuces.